Here we go. Stadium Pulse on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. One more game in the college football season. We're going to talk about it today. Look, only 8 more football games until August, or really September. Got the 1 college football, 7 NFL games left, 4 divisional, 2 conference championship, and obviously the Super Bowl. And then we're going to hit the desert. It's going to be a long and dry road until we get some football again. Welcome in, everybody. Stadium Pulse. Talk college football every Friday, 9 to 10 a.m. And why I bring that up, that we only have 8 games left, because normally, I mean, obviously, the playoffs is a great time. We all know that. But, you know, normally we have a lot to look forward to even over the summer. And especially for me, I don't know about you, but especially with baseball season starting up, spring training in March and April, World Baseball Classic this year, which ought to be fun. But let me just say that I am hanging on to these last 8 football games, perhaps more than ever before, for a season where none of my teams are in it, simply because the MLB is a joke. And trust me, college football, this is a college football show. We all know that. Kyle Tucker last night, 4 years, $240 million to the Dodgers. Just like Edwin Diaz. I mean, a team comes off of a World Series, signs the best closer on the market, Edwin Diaz, and the best position player on the market, Kyle Tucker. Yeah, I'm going to cry, chat. You already, I mean, yeah, what do you want? I know you're a Dodgers fan, but I mean, seriously. It's broken, man. It's so broken. And everybody knows it. And congratulations to you, Dodger. Because don't worry, we're going to talk about FSU here in about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to be asking you if you're going to cry. But look, all that to say, what a joke. And let's hang on all together to these last couple football games. One left in college football national championship. We're going to talk about that right now. We're also going to get to the transfer portal. Like I mentioned, FSU, it might be rock bottom, even from where they're coming from. No Zach today. He will be with us next week. Appreciate Kim's Corner for helping us out today. We're also going to have some Ty Simpson. What a story. What a story that is, passing up that money to go to the NFL. What that means for college football, I think that's a very interesting conversation right about now. Obviously, some updates on Florida and Georgia as well. But yeah, let's start with the national championship. It's Natty versus Cristobal. It's Mendoza versus Beck. Look, I mean, I think when I'm trying to go back and think about national championships of the past, it's really hard to compare this one because, I mean, just the whole story of how these teams got here. Because Miami all year, I mean, maybe you're smarter than me, but I mean, obviously when they lose to SMU and to Louisville, you see all the talent. You see that they can beat really good teams. They did it with Notre Dame, which I picked them to do. And then they right there with A&M. But after they lose the 2 games, they're like, all right, you know, that's it. Or at least maybe they can still win out and go to the playoff, but that's not a national championship team. Nobody in their right minds watches them lose to Louisville and SMU and believes that they have still a shot to win a national championship. Now, once they rattle off a couple of wins and then they beat Texas A&M, then you're like, whoa, if that team plays, they'll roll anybody. Like they're that physical, that big, they're fully capable. But the fact that they lost 2 games in the regular season to teams of the like of SMU and Louisville, to me, that takes away from the national championship feel. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but it doesn't quite feel like this is the best of the, like, 2 absolute giants, which is normally what the national championship feels like, because more often than not, in the history of college football, both of the teams that have met up in the national championship have been undefeated. Or maybe one's been undefeated and one has one loss. We're not used to seeing a team with 2 losses be in the national championship. So it's just different. It's just different. And obviously on the other side, you have Indiana, who feels like they're the giant, right? I mean, they look like the machine that cannot be stopped. I mean, I don't know, man. It kind of feels like they're the 2022 Georgia that you knew without a shadow of a doubt was going to win the national championship. Coming off one the year before, and then they got better and older. Nobody was going to beat Georgia that year. They won the national championship by, 50 points? That's what it felt like. And I'm not saying that's going to be this by any means, because TCU is just shouldn't have been there. But Indiana, just solely focused on them, they feel like the unstoppable team. So can Beck and Miami and Cristobal get back to the mountaintop? Obviously, if Indiana wins, it would be their first national championship ever. Miami, first one since 2001. I was a toddler. Here's what I want to know. Before I get into the game itself, I wonder if Miami is slightly overlooking Indiana. I'm not saying the team or the players. I'm saying the fans. And I know you look over at the other side and you see an undefeated team, but I think I've sensed, at least in the last week or two, that we're Miami. We're bigger and we're better and we're badder. And they still kind of look at the Indiana as it's Indiana. I think multiple fan bases have fallen victim to that. Truly. Bama? You don't think Bama fans did that? And they had their own problems. I mean, they knew their own weaknesses, I think, at least all the logical ones. But when they're looking at the other side, I'm like, dude, we're Bama. They're Indiana. Come on. We have more talented players. And did Bama have more talented players? Yes, they did. Were they the better team? Absolutely not. So what happens here? Does Miami have more talented players? Well, yes, they do. They have a lot more 5 stars. Indiana doesn't have a single one. How many NFL players are on these 2 rosters? Well, it's probably pretty close, but I would say Miami has more, and at least more that will be drafted a lot higher, for sure, especially on defense. So I'm sensing even that I think Miami fans, truthfully, are looking at this. I mean, guys, this is an 8.5 point line. That is insane for a national championship. And I'd have to go back. I wish I could. If you're easy access to the internet right now, and you can in the chat, if you could find what the line was for Georgia TCU in the 2022 national championship, please throw that in. I'd love to know. I think this will be a close game. So, again, not comparing it to Georgia TCU. Look, I think the team that has run the football all week, or every week on this show, the last 3 weeks, we have talked about that the better rushing team has won the game in the college football playoff. From Indiana over Alabama to Miami over Ohio State. These teams couldn't run the ball. And they got cooked. They got torn apart. If you can't run the football in playoff time against a really good opponent, then you're going to be made one-dimensional. As soon as you're made one-dimensional, you're done. And that is why I predicted, and we talked all about it, that Georgia Ole Miss would be the only good game in the quarterfinal. And it was. Because both teams could run the football. Ole Miss, very successful in the run game. Q1 Lacey. Obviously, Georgia can run the ball with the best of them. Went away from it at times and maybe should have ran it more, but that's besides the point. Fact of the matter is, there's a have and have not when it comes to running the football. Well, both these teams can run the football. Absolutely. Let me go back to last week or 2 weeks ago. In Miami's 31-27 win over Ole Miss, Miami ran it for 198 yards. 198. Now, Ole Miss ran it for a 121. So they outgained him on the ground by 7 yards. Now, before I get too carried away with this whole idea, Ole Miss ran for the better average. They ran for the better average. And by the way, I took out the quarterback run. So I took out Beck's sacks, and I took out Trinidad. I think he had 5 carries for like 7 yards. I took that out. I just looked at the running backs. Ole Miss ran it for 7 a pop, but they only ran it for 121 yards. And obviously, you got at the end of the game there, Miami's really kind of sitting on it a little bit, which they tend to do, which I think will impact this game here on Monday night. But nonetheless, they outgained them by 75 yards on the ground. Okay? And that's why Miami won the football game. Mark Fletcher and even Brown, who's stepping up big now. Then you go over to Indiana. Just absolutely worked Oregon. It's interesting side note on Oregon that each year they've extended the blowout loss one game. It was in the conference championship, and then last year obviously at Ohio State in the quarterfinal. Now this year in the semifinal, and I'm not even going to say they didn't show up. They just got dominated. Just got dominated, man. I mean, you throw a pick 6 on the first freaking play of the game, you're in big trouble against a team that doesn't make any mistakes, seemingly. But on the ground, Indiana ran it 40 times for 184. And Oregon ran it 26 times for 93. So obviously, again, a huge discrepancy in the attempts. Indiana ran it 14 more times, but they outgained them by 90 yards. So, and again, a lot of that is at the end of the game, Indiana didn't throw the football in the fourth quarter. And I'm not, or at least almost didn't. I mean, Mendoza had 20 attempts on the game. So obviously the game was out of reach and they were just trying to run it. Or else that average probably would have been even better, right? But all that to say, both these teams can really run the football. Well, and both these teams pride themselves on stopping the run, truthfully. And I would say Miami probably prides themselves a little bit more on their pass rush than Indiana does. But both teams are stout on the defensive lines. And it's going to be a war, I think, in the trenches. And that's why I should look. I can look this one up very quickly, unlike the Georgia line from earlier. But let me see what the over-under is on this game, because 47.5, to me, that's high. Now, please do not ever take a single bit of gambling advice from me, or else you're going to be in big trouble. Okay? That being said, I think we're going to see a defensive battle in this one, truthfully. And I think we're going to see two teams that want to run the football and extend possessions and try to keep it away from the other team a little bit. I think you're going to see a couple 3-and-outs. You know, Indiana is not used to seeing a defense that is this physical. But at the same time, Indiana does not commit self-inflicted wounds. They just don't do it. This is where the machine aspect really comes in here. They don't make mistakes. They force another team to beat you, and so far this year, no team has been disciplined enough, physical enough, explosive enough, because you got to be all three to beat them. So, look, what is this going to come down to? I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. For me, I mean, with an 8.5-point line here, my idea is that if Miami's going to win this football game, the story's got to be because Beck played out of his mind and outplayed Mendoza. Or else forget it. Truthfully. If Mendoza plays his normal A game and Beck plays B, which I think is what we've seen most of the time in the playoff. I mean, Mendoza against Ole Miss is 17 of 20 for 5 touchdowns. And I think for like 190 yards. He didn't even have to spin it all that much. But 17 of 20, that's 90% pretty much. 85%. if my math is correct. 5 touchdowns. He is leading his team. Beck is not leading Miami. Now, he did, to give him a lot of credit, he did in the fourth quarter of the game against Ole Miss. So you got a hat tip there. All of the third down conversions, they had 4 third down conversions on that final drive where he scampers into the end zone with, 30 seconds left or whatever it was, 20 seconds. They had a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 6, or 2 of those, a 3rd and 4, and a 3rd and 2. And he converted every one of them. So credit Beck on those drives. But all told now, the rushing, Mark Fletcher and Malachi Toney, the screens and the dinks and the dunks to him, that's been Miami's offense. It hasn't been Beck sitting back there making NFL throws like Mendoza has been. So I think the only way you win this game, if you're Miami, is if Beck plays the A+, and Mendoza doesn't. If they both play on the same grade, if you will, no, Mendoza is going to win this game. He just is. And the question is Beck capable? Now, he's proven that he is for stretches against good defenses. I would say Ole Miss is a pretty good defense. Not great. Not great. Not as good as Indiana's, but pretty good. Can Beck throw 70% and convert 3rd and longs? Not turn the football over at all? I don't know if he can do that. I really don't. I would expect him to have a turnover in this game. I really would. And it could be the story of, I mean, if you're listening in Jacksonville with us, it could be the story of Trevor Lawrence last game. Nobody would say the loss is on Trevor. But at the end of the day, you lost by 1 possession, and Trevor gave a possession away early in the football game, where you would say Trevor played pretty well. And he played really good in the fourth quarter, other than obviously the last pick. That sealed it. But, I mean, they had 3 possessions. The Jags did 3 possessions, if you do not include the pick, in the second half in total, which is really nothing. And they scored all 3 times, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, scored 17 points in the second half. Well, I just said that I think that this game is going to be stretched out. Long possessions with a few short ones mixed in between. The possessions might be limited. So even if Beck plays pretty well and maybe throws a touchdown or 2 in the second half, maybe a 1 mistake early that doesn't seem to matter because there's so much ball game left, maybe that is the difference. I've got Indiana 23-13. I really think it'll be a low-scoring game. I mean, 47.5 to me is a lot of points. Because Indiana's not, I mean, look, Indiana can score with the best of them, but I don't know if they've seen a D-line like Miami. I mean, you go back to the Big Ten Championship against Ohio State. How many points did they put up? Not a lot at all. So why would we say that they're going to put up, 28? It's because that's what Vegas is saying. If it's an 8.5-point spread and it's at 47.5, they're saying this game is going to be 27-20 or 28-20. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if I'm Indiana on defense, I'm doing everything possible to stop Mark Fletcher. And I don't know if you really can 100%, but they've got to slow him down. And if they're able to slow him down and force Beck to convert 3rd and 6 all day, they're going to put up 13 points in this game. 16. They're not going to be putting up 21 plus. And I think Indiana's that good. I really do. I really do. And I don't blame Vegas for throwing up an 8.5-point spread. I really don't. I've got it at 10 points. Again, no gambling advice. But I just don't see how. I mean, Beck has got to play A+, and I don't think he is. So give me Indiana 23-13. I saw a graphic. I meant to pull it, but I forgot. It literally shows the entire country. Y'all, I'm sure I've seen a ton of things like this, where the entire country is red for Indiana, outside of South Florida and one little spot of Indiana, which I'm guessing is Notre Dame. Now, I'm not a geography, nerd, so I don't know exactly where in Indiana Notre Dame is, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that was that. And I think that's incredibly accurate. And it's just, I think it's funny because, for me, again, Miami last won their national championship. I was one. Or maybe not, one. I was one. They have never been even close to national championship contenders in my lifetime. And yet, I can't stand Miami. Can't stand them. And all the other reasons that everybody else can't stand them, most of that stuff was, 90s. Of course it was. 80s and 90s Miami. I wasn't even there. Wasn't alive. Didn't exist. Still hate them. Stories are enough for me. All the antics. Shoot, even if I had never seen Miami in my life, perhaps what Michael Irvin is doing on the sideline right now would be enough to fill in all the gaps. Dude. Hey, here's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to get off the high horse on this one. If we're going to show this dude after every single good thing that happens for Miami, every pick, every sack, every touchdown, well, then when Beck throws a pick, director, take the shot. I need Irvin Cam immediately. When the confetti is falling on Indiana Monday night at 11:45, I need the Irvin Cam. I need to see if I need to see what he's doing. I need to see if there's man tears. Would you be surprised? Would you be surprised if you saw man tears from Michael Irvin? He thinks he's on the team. Can anybody argue with me? I don't think so. Kim, if you can't pull up the chat, who we got? Indiana run defense is legit from Nate. Absolutely. King of Tally says Michael Irvin is a certified clown. Hat tip to you, sir. That's correct. Yeah, if you're in the chat, let me know your score prediction for this game. And if you will be, perhaps hitting that 8.5 line. A lot to be seen. I think this will be, again, if it's a 23-13 game, I think it'll be about Indiana's dominance, the story after. I think it'll be about, we didn't get the fireworks that necessarily we wanted in a national championship game, but I think it'll be well played. I really do. I think it'll be well played. I think we're going to have a really good game at half with Indiana up by 3 or a 7 or whatever, and it's going to just kind of be a rock fight in the second half. And, again, Indiana's not going to make a mistake, so they're going to win the football game, and then it's going to be all about Cignetti. And I hope, look, and I've repeated this take a couple of times now, I like Cignetti. Kind of. More so because I appreciate him. The personality I can separate from what word am I looking for? The job that he's done, I guess. Truthfully, as we've said here, it is the best coaching job of my lifetime. It is. Any sport that you can name, any coach that you can name in the last 25 years, I think this is the best one. Recency bias? I don't think so, really, because this guy literally took Indiana and made him a national championship contender in 2 years. With what players? So I think it's that good of a coaching job. That being said, if the confetti is falling on Cignetti and we don't get the ear-to-ear grin, I'm going to be pissed. If he's already talking about next year, tired act. Come on, man. If they're up 10 with 90 seconds to go, and he gets pissed because he gets the cooler dumped on him, I'll never root for Indiana again, unless they play Miami or Ohio State. Probably, I'll still root for them then, maybe, depending on who their players are. I'll leave it up to that. But yeah, come on, man, celebrate a little bit, please. All right, we got to take a break. Cutter says 27-20 Indiana. Nate says 20-6 or something like that. He says it'll be a sleeper. Miami won't be able to run the ball. I'm with it. 23-13 for me. Hey, when we come back, Florida, FSU, Georgia, transfer portal notes. I want to really talk about this Ty Simpson story because I think it is against the grain for everything that we're seeing. And I think we can learn a lot from it. Maybe we get to Dante Moore, Dylan Raiola's situation at Oregon. We don't really make it up to the Pacific Coast all that often, but we'll see, time permitting. Appreciate everybody hopping out in the chat, hanging out with us. Stadium Pulse. We'll be right back.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay and Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
All right, 30 minutes to go here on Stadium Pulse, Action Sports Jack's 24/7 network. And hallelujah, the transfer portal window closes today. The 2 weeks are up. And obviously, teams that are in the national championship, Indiana, Miami, will have 5 extra days following the national championship to kind of do their own portal run. But yeah, it's about time. Welcome back in, everybody. Stadium Pulse, we do it every Friday. And look, if you're like me, or maybe not me, but I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, you know what? Come mid-December, I'm going to close my eyes until next August, as far as my college football team goes. Come next August, then I'll learn whoever's on my team. I'll learn all the new acquisitions, who left, who didn't, and I'll get ready for another season. But up until then, miss me with having to stay up to date on everything in the portal, this wild, wild west crap that we've seen, especially in the last 2 weeks. It's too much. And obviously, I cannot do that, or else I would come up here and have nothing to say. However, and most of those people I would assume are not in a show like this today. They're on their hiatus. I don't blame them, though. I wouldn't blame anybody for saying, I'm not dealing with this all off season. Trying to keep up with who's here and who's not. Who's staying and who hit the portal, but who's coming back, and the money and all this stuff. It's not the game that we love. It's just not. Pro free agency is really fun to follow. There are a lot less moves. Your team might sign 4 players in pro free agency. Maybe 8. Maybe 10. But that's it. You're going to have 80% of your same roster. And then obviously you include the draft. Well, this is totally different. You're going to get literally, at most of these schools, you're going to get 40 to 50% of a new roster. Half. Half your team comes back. And the guys that are staying, half of those guys are the guys that you've heard of. Half of them are not. Those are the guys those are the young guys that are still developing or haven't seen the field yet. It's a joke. You don't know who any of these guys are. Unless you're an unbelievable sicko. And again, that's a compliment for those who follow the sport extremely close. Closer than I. But I'm ready to be done with it, man. I got to be honest. I'm glad the portal's closing today. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And that's just that. And look, if you're an FSU fan, you're sick of it too. Because you're getting crushed. And it's not getting better. Florida State, you would think, right, that with each portal, each window, there's a glimmer of hope. After all, FSU has used it just about as much as anybody, close to the capacity of Ole Miss and now LSU. And it worked once. Obviously, it's been terrible the last 2 turns. But nonetheless, you can flip your team so fast. So fast. In one offseason, you can flip your team. Look at what Texas Tech did. And I know FSU does not have that money. I'm not saying they do. But the idea remains, you can flip your entire program in one offseason. So as bad as it is in Tallahassee, coming off of the last 2 years, there should still be, or there should have been at least, up until 2 weeks ago, some optimism. Hey, maybe we hit on a couple of guys in the portal. And by the way, they still might. I don't know a lot of these guys, but based off of the rankings, this is bad shape. And it's not getting better. And it's not just bad shape for what it is there. It's bad shape, it's worse shape for what you could have had. Right now, according to On3, which is what I'm going off of, because Rivals has them in the 30s, I believe. On3's got FSU in the 50s for their transfer portal class. More guys have left than have came. And they did get helped out with the 2 twins that decided to remove themselves from the portal and return. I believe that was last night. So that's a big win, and I don't know if that impacts the rankings or not, but let's just say they're in the 50s. Not good. So that alone is bad shape, like I said. But it's worse. Oh, man, is it worse. When you look over and you see VTech. VTech has the 5th best transfer portal class in the country. And for weeks on this show, and so many people said it, so it's not like we were the only ones. I'm sure by the dozens and thousands, FSU fans called for it. I hope, if they're smart. You were calling for Mike Norvell to be fired, to find a way to scrounge up the pennies. If you had to get the lemonade stands out on campus, do it. Fire him and bring in James Franklin. We called for it, and so did so many people. And if you would have pursued FSU, if you would have pursued James Franklin, I have to believe that he would have gone there. Why would he go? Why would he have picked VTech over y'all? So the fact that not only you're struggling in the portal, FSU should never, in a million years, I don't care what the situation is, be in the 50s in the transfer portal. Ever. Not only that, but you look over and James Franklin's got the 5th best class. And imagine what James Franklin would have done with your logo, FSU, if he was your coach. It probably would have been 1. Probably would have been the best class. James Franklin with the FSU logo and with the FSU brand and with the FSU history. I get it. That doesn't matter as much now. I mean, that matters less now than it ever has. Ever has. Still, it's got to play a role. I don't know how much. But I got to believe that James Franklin would behave a better class at FSU than he would at VTech. Firmly. So, I mean, where is the hope? And like I said, we don't know. Maybe some of these guys will pan out. Some of these guys that we've never heard of, and they will outperform whatever the portal, projections are. It's very possible. Very possible. But I think it's conservative to look up and down the roster, what's left of it from last year, and the guys that you have committed to play in Tallahassee next year, and truly to look around and say, where's the talent? Where is it? It might be possible, guys, that you're looking up, and this is and roster, as in all the position groups. You might say this is a lesser talented roster than DJU's year. Maybe your quarterback play is better. But your whole roster in DJU's year was not that bad. I mean, it was bad. I don't think it was that bad. Right now, and again, I'm not going to claim to know all these guys. I'm really not. But I'm saying it's a possibility that roster up and down, 110 players or however many it is, that this is worse. So maybe Ashton Daniels. Maybe it's a miracle that now that he's out from Hugh Freeze, the flashes that he's shown become the norm and Mike Norvell can get something out of him. And, you win a couple of games. Or maybe you win more than just a couple of games. He's got the talent. Or maybe Kevin Sperry. You talked him up. You've been talking him up for a long time. Maybe he becomes one of the best. One of the best pocket passers in the conference, and you're in the mix. But I don't look. I think this is bad shape, and I think you're already. And I'm not saying anything that is new. Of course not. But you're already on borrowed time, Norvell, and I think we're just twiddling our thumbs, waiting for him to win another 4 games so we can fire him next year, because that's that big of a deal in the buyout. Obviously, that's sarcasm. It's not. It's less, but you're paying him the money, so it's really not. You might as well. You can't now, because you would have had to a month ago, but you should. As for their bitter rivals, the Florida Gators, I think it is truly a different story. They've had a good offseason. The Gators have had I would say a very solid offseason. Right now, they have a top 10 transfer portal class. They're 8, according to On3. Again, that's up to them. And we have seen transfer portal classes that were branded very good that did not turn out, and vice versa. So everything here is a grain of salt. But based off of what we know, 8th best class right now for FSU. For Florida. For the Gators. Summerall. And what he's done is obviously retaining Ball, which is not even really a part of that, but should be. But it's Philo. And look, they've gotten a lot of guys from Georgia Tech. And as somebody who's not a big fan of Florida, obviously, it would be easy for me to come in here and say, oh, this is just Georgia Tech in Florida's uniforms now, which I think is low-hanging fruit, and I'm not going to say that because, first of all, the guys that did come from Georgia Tech, they produced. These are not just guys who were looking for a new place to play and wanted to come over with Buster Faulkner. These are dudes who produced. I think these will be producing players for y'all. And even if that were the case, being from Georgia Tech and being Georgia Tech 2.0 in Gainesville is not the worst thing right now. Because look, Georgia Tech was better than y'all last year. It's the facts. They were better. So you might as well want as many of their guys as possible. And again, very, very solid players. And then obviously you get Eric Singleton, who was obviously Georgia Tech and then got paid to go to Auburn, and they misused him horribly. And now he reconnects with Buster Faulkner, and now you've got, at the bare minimum, a replacement for Trey Wilson, who has all the talent in the world, and when he was on the field was great, but was not on the field. I think the guy had 400 passing or receiving yards in the last 2 years. Just wasn't on the field. And Singleton has. So at the very minimum, you've got a replacement for Trey Wilson, and obviously if you get 10, 11, 12 games out of him, home run. And you've got Dallas Wilson back and VB3 and all those guys. And I think with this, if you look up and down this class for Florida in the portal, you're not going to see a whole lot of talent jump out at you, but I think you're going to see a lot of guys that produced and just solid talent. Not great, but solid. Not a lot of flash other than Singleton. Singleton's the flash. But look, if you're Aaron Philo and you come in and say, well, look, I got Dallas Wilson here, I got VB3 there, and now I got Eric Singleton, and ball's in my backfield. At the end of the day, I can just turn around and hand him the football. One of the biggest winners of the offseason, perhaps, is Aaron Philo. You got a huge pay raise, not to mention you're just the starter when you were not, sitting behind Haynes King at Georgia Tech. And legitimately now, you might have already a top 3 set of weapons in the SEC. I'm not going to put it above Texas, now with Cam Coleman. I don't think I'll put it above A&M. And there are a lot of schools right there, and who knows? Dallas Wilson we've seen very little of. But you might say, hey, I have the 3rd most talented group of weapons in the conference on day 1. Philo. Eyes got to be lit up. He might have a great year. And again, I think Georgia fans here are way more optimistic, or at least higher on Faulkner, and we have had to almost convince Florida fans. Hey, this guy is good. He knows what he's talking about. He was a part of our national championship run. Look at what he did at Georgia Tech. He can coach all different types of offense. You're not pigeonholed. And he adjusts. It's a great offseason for Florida. Got to get to this Ty Simpson story. The word is, and this is from Ty Simpson himself now, so take it or leave it based off of what Ty Simpson is saying. He has committed to the NFL draft. And obviously now that doesn't mean as much because you can, at the end of the day, you can Cam Ward it. And oh, by the way, you can Carson Beck it, because we seem to forget that Carson Beck declared for the NFL draft and then wanted to go take more money to go to Miami. Smart move? Absolutely. Coming off of the injury, right? And it didn't end well at Georgia as far as win-loss. This whole narrative that he was the victim and that he got mistreated. And look, what do I know? I'm not in the building. But that seems like a farce and a crime to come up with that narrative. I think it all gets dispelled when you remember that he declared for the draft. He declared. It wasn't forced out. He chose to go to the draft. And then Miami came and backed up the Brinks truck. And he said, look, that's a better option. And that was a great move for him. He has improved his draft stock a ton. And again, not necessarily just because of the play, and the play is good, but just because of coming off the injury. Unknowns are not good, obviously, for guys going to the draft. So, I could go on that for hours. But back to Ty Simpson. He declares for the draft. And then comes out and says, look, Miami, again, tried to back up the Brinks truck and offered me, this is according to him now, $6 million for 1 year to come back and play for him. And he said Tennessee was in the mix in that range, and even Ole Miss. Because Trinidad Chambliss is not going to be back by all intents and purposes as of right now. So, and he said, no, I'm not going to take $6 million for really 6 months of work a year. I'm going to go to the draft. And why? Why would he pass that up? Because as we all know, unless he's drafted really in the first round, like he would have, well, no matter what, he would have made more this year at Miami than anywhere, NFL-wise. Now, all told, if he's drafted in the top 10, yeah, you're set. I don't think we believe that, at least not as of right now, and I get it. In the months leading up to the NFL draft, every quarterback's stock seems to skyrocket. So at this point, would I be surprised if Ty Simpson is taken in the top 15? No. Do I think he deserves it as of right now on January 16th? No shot. That's me. And again, that's he played better than against Georgia better than he played against anybody. So I've seen it. I've seen the flashes. But he's saying I'm not going to go back to college and transfer because I believe the quote is everything I built at Bama would be like washed away, at least to that extent. It would be for naught because he's putting on a different jersey. And I got to say, man, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the decision. Not that, I mean, who cares what I think, but I'm a big fan of the decision. I'm going to pass up more money to stick to my guns and be loyal to my school even though I'm not there. I'm not going to take it. I mean, because I would assume that 6 is probably double what he was offered to stay at Bama. I don't know what he made this year. I would guess, and this is a total guess, in between $1 to $2 million. Nothing to, dismiss. But that's still way more than I bet Bama offered him. Even Ole Miss, I'm sure they offered him more than Bama. Tennessee, yes, absolutely. And to think that he would stay because it would ruin his legacy at Bama, and it wasn't a great legacy as far as just winning, but the loyalty, I think that would improve it. Ty Simpson will be beloved in Tuscaloosa for the rest of his life, honestly, because of this decision. In a world where nobody does this. Beck just had the opportunity to and chose not to. And was there behind the scenes stuff there? Maybe. But the guy was Georgia through and through. And then now, whether it's fair or not, it burns the bridges at the school that you came from. The bridges would have been burned at Bama if Ty Simpson would have gone to Miami, just like Beck. Think about Quinn Ewers. He had offers to go elsewhere after Texas. And he chose to still go to the NFL. And he was a 7th rounder. So think about how much more money Ewers would have made. So I'm hoping we see more of this in an era where we don't get any of it. So I wanted to end the show with that. Shout out to Ty Simpson for having an appreciation for all the work that you put in and also the school that gave you a shot in the first place. I think that's big. So, again, we end with this one last college football game. It'll probably start at Monday at 8:45, which is a crime. But we're going to enjoy the mess out of it, and I hope you do too. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. That'll do it for us today. Next time we join you, we will have a national champion. The entire window will be closed. We'll update you on that. Have a good Friday, everybody. Appreciate it.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557. or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with That One Painter First Coast on your team.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar, grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products.